Well, and I'll insert one thing since Greg, you were talking about Barbie homes. Crystal Palace, please. I was always upset that there was never a castle or a carriage. So I know that there was that little fold-out castle that kind of looked like, I don't know. I mean, it looked more like Polly Pocket. But was there ever in like your blue sky ideas that you wanted to make a castle set similar to like what She-Ra did with the Mattel castle?
Absolutely, but the tooling cost to do a big full She-Ra castle is enormous. And so we knew that if that was going to happen, it would be way down the road. But I remember at one point I had to approve the look of Robert's design for the castle. And I was told, you need to approve this so that if we ever want to make one, it'll work. And I remember thinking, well, there's no way at this point that this has a chance of making it. So, and Robert's design was really unique. I liked it. So I kind of shirked my responsibilities in that point. Because otherwise I would have dumbed down his castle. So I didn't. I left the integrity of it, and in the back of my mind, I thought, well, what I can do is I could make a tower, almost like the one that I made that you saw pictures of for Enchanted Camelot. There was no artwork of that palace at that time, so that set came entirely out of my head, and so I knew once that was fully designed that wouldn't work. It's a shame. I really loved that castle, and I wish it didn't that it hadn't been destroyed. But I'm sure it was. But to offset that, we worked on several medium-sized play sets. One being the Carriage. We had a couple different versions of the Carriage, and it kind of opened up. Like a Volkswagen Vanagon with a pop top, and so that it had areas for beds, and it was neat. It just unfortunately there was too much to do. So the person who designed it was really inexperienced, and it was too complex. And so I finally got back to solving that need, and that was the tent playset that was approved to go to engineer for production, and that's just like the last thing that was shown before everything was stopped. But there was also I forgot the exact name of it, but it was a magical forest playset. But you guys probably know the name better than me.
Oh, was it the Ravenwood Forest?
It might have been.
I don't know if you've ever told us the name.
Okay, so yeah, so what it was is it looked like one of the magical trees for the teleportation, or at least that was the plan for it. Although it really didn't look like the ones that showed up in the cartoon, but we knew we could kind of fix it later if we had to. And the idea was it would open up it was a big tree that would open up into a play set, and it had jewels all through it, like a Light Bright. It's funny. I had to play the commercial in my head to get the name of that.
Right.
So
right.
Exactly. Making fun with light bright.
I never had one.
Cool toy.
That is really awesome. I would have loved to have a travel tree playset.
Yeah.
And so you could light. It had a light on the inside, and then it had jewels. All the wild jewels and the regular jewels you could plug in from the outside.
Wow.
All shine. That one didn't get. That was kind of like the next one that was started after the tent. There was something else I thought of the other day that was like, oh yeah, there was another place that we did. It was like, maybe a cardboard mock-up of it, but now I forgot what it was. But yeah, the wagon was intended to go forward. We just hadn't finished designing it properly yet. And that would have been cool. But the thing I did like that was a minor thing, because I had to keep the price point so low on the tent, but I made sure that there were eating areas for the girls and for the animals. So there was like a crystal feeding trough that snapped onto one of the tent legs. So they could also eat. So you could have so that your horses were as much of characters as your humans were.
By the magic of the Sunstone, you're tuned into the Jewel Riders archive.